Welcome back, everyone, to today's Explainer. We are jumping right into a topic that can honestly be a bit tricky if you're not paying close attention, and that is the precise coding rules and guidelines for tubal and ectopic pregnancies. You know the feeling, right? You're staring at a dense surgical report, trying to figure out exactly how to translate those intricate procedural details into the perfect alphanumeric code. Well, you're absolutely in the right place. Today, we're focusing entirely on the established guidelines for these specific procedures so you can hit absolute accuracy in your daily work. Okay, let's dive right in with a crucial question that instantly shows just how much a surgeon's specific technique dictates our entire coding logic. Think about this. How does a single surgical incision fundamentally change a medical code? As we dig into the source material today, we're going to see exactly how the difference between just cutting into a tube versus removing that tube entirely completely shifts our path through the classification system. It's a real game changer. Here is our roadmap for this explainer. First, understanding tubal pregnancies. Second, the surgical solutions. Third, essential coding rules. Fourth, extraction versus resection. And finally, real-world coding examples. Kicking things off with Section 1, Understanding Tubal Pregnancies, the clinical foundation. Just to ground ourselves quickly, a tubal pregnancy is simply the most common presentation of an ectopic pregnancy. This is our clinical starting line. When a patient presents with an ectopic pregnancy, statistically speaking, this is the exact scenario you're going to see documented in the medical record. Having this baseline firmly in mind is what sets us up to accurately interpret those complex surgical procedures that inevitably follow. Moving right along to Section 2, the surgical solutions and how the surgeon operates. So according to our source material, the surgeon basically has two main approaches for removing a tubal ectopic pregnancy, and it all boils down to how they handle that fallopian tube. First up, they might perform a salpingectomy or a salpingostomy. With both of these, the absolutely crucial detail is that the pregnancy is removed via an incision directly into the tube itself, right? The tube stays put, but the pregnancy is extracted right through that cut. Now, alternatively, they might go with a salpingectomy. This is the complete excision or total removal of the tube itself, with the ectopic pregnancy still intact inside it. Your main job as a coder, scan that operative note and pinpoint exactly which of these physical actions the surgeon actually took. That brings us to Section 3, Essential Coding Rules and the Classification Path. Okay, here is a crucial point you'll want to lock in. The removal of an ectopic pregnancy is always classified to a very specific location in the coding manual. You've got to start in the obstetric section. Once you're there, you target the pregnancy body system. And finally, for your body part, you must explicitly select product of conception ectopic. This sequence right here, it's your unshakable foundation for these cases. No matter what surgical technique was used, categorizing the removal of an ectopic pregnancy always maps straight to obstetrics, pregnancy, and that ectopic product of conception body part. Next up, Section 4, Extraction versus Resection, the core coding rule. This right here brilliantly illustrates the core rule you absolutely have to memorize. It's the whole shebang. If the removal of the pregnancy is done via an incision into the tube, so that salpingotomy or salpingostomy we talked about, the root operation you assign is extraction. But if the procedure is a salpingectomy, meaning excision of the entire tube, your root operation completely shifts to resection. It literally comes down to this. The surgeon's choice to either cut into the tube or cut out the tube dictates your final code. Simple as that. Let's put this into practice with Section 5, real-world coding examples and applying the logic. You can see how standard presentations map out super cleanly based on the surgeon's approach. Take a left tubal pregnancy treated with a laparoscopic resection, for instance. That gives us code 10T24ZZ. Easy enough, right? Moving down, an abdominal pregnancy treated with an open removal translates to 10T20ZZ. And then a corneal pregnancy with a laparoscopic removal routes us right back to 10T24ZZ. The exact diagnosis, location, plus the approach, whether it's open or laparoscopic, directly informs that final code. Now, absolute precision is required when things get a bit more complex. Let's say a right tubal pregnancy involves both the removal of the pregnancy and the excision of a portion of the tube. A laparotomy and salpingectomy in this case actually results in two distinct procedure codes, 10T20ZZ plus 0UB50ZZ. You absolutely must capture both of those distinct actions. Or consider this unique scenario. A left tubal pregnancy is treated via laparotomy, but the surgeon removes the products of conception simply by applying manual pressure to the tube. Because of that very specific physical technique, the resulting code is 10D20ZZ. It just goes to show why you have to read those operative reports word for word. Before we wrap up today, if you want more medical coding videos in the future to remain completely updated on all these rules and guidelines, please take a quick second to like this explainer and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Navigating these dense coding manuals definitely requires constant practice, and I am so thrilled to keep bringing you these focused, slide-driven explainers to make your workflow as smooth as possible. I want to leave you with one final provocative thought today, just to remind you of the immense real-world impact your accuracy as a coder carries every single day. How does your precision in assigning a single alphanumeric digit ultimately impact patient care and global healthcare data? When you accurately distinguish between an extraction and a resection just by noting whether a surgeon made an incision or an excision, you aren't just filing paperwork. No way. You are building the exact medical history of that patient, you're ensuring proper facility reimbursement, and you're directly contributing to the massive data pools that shape healthcare policy worldwide. Your attention to detail truly matters. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and happy coding!